Well, Chairman, plenty to catch up with you on. Let's start with the football. It's been a very positive start to the season, hasn't it? Especially with all that's gone on.
Well, it's been an extraordinary start, Anthony, but I'm going to immediately change it because what I want to start with is what hasn't gone right. There's a big apology from the club, from myself personally. The trouble that we've had with the season tickets, the distribution of those, the difficulties people have had getting into the ground, they're completely unacceptable to all of us. And I'm genuinely hugely sorry. We've had a perfect storm with the Women's Euros next year. We've been looking at changing the ticket system and, of course, going to electronic ticketing, which is going to be fantastic going forward. We thought we'd try and introduce that now before the new season. We didn't want to do it halfway through. But, of course, it's just led from one problem to another. When you couple that with the difficulties of getting staff, people not knowing the new system, so a very limited amount of people that could actually do things, and then you couple that with some of the most extraordinary postage stories that you hear. I know somebody who got their Sunderland tickets last Thursday, and they were posted on August the 12th, and in fact all of that post that went out that night, which includes hundreds of season tickets, very few people have received those. So when you add all these things together, it's meant that it's not been a great start for our supporters. I've been there, I've seen it my first hand, I've seen people queuing to the box office to get their tickets. Everybody's been able to get in, but it hasn't been smooth, and for that I apologise, because at the end of the day we want that whole match day experience to be so important for our youngsters that are coming, our under 12s that go free. I want them to really enjoy their day at the stadium, and I want our parents to also be looking forward to having that day when they can go out and relax, and it has been anything but that. Now, the only mitigating circumstance that we can proffer is that hasn't the football been exciting, and where you wanted to start is exactly where I'd want to go next. We've been hit with big things. Obviously, a change of manager as the season starts. It could have completely derailed us. I think as a business, as a club going forward, we're in a strong position because we know much more about who we are, what we want to be, what we're expecting to see. Therefore, recruitment and managers and everything can all be tied up together. And under our new system, with sporting directors and performance directors, we've got the opportunity, of course, to appoint a head coach, and that's what we've done in Liam Manning. Liam has started incredibly well. I love him and his team. He totally gets where we're trying to be. I think that's what excited him to come. He's got a group of really extraordinarily talented players to work with. As everybody knows, we are inexperienced. Our age is much lower than I could ever remember before, and that might end up costing us, because there's so many things that experience does bring you in football. But at the end of the day, as a supporter and as the chairman, I want to go and be looking forward to the games, and I'm pretty sure that everybody can join me in saying, yeah, we're looking forward to Saturday, we're looking forward to next week when people are back at Stadium MK. And that's where you want the football to be. So it could have been much more difficult. It does show that the changes that we've made in recent months do give us more sustainability, more objectivity in terms of what we do. It's making my life as a chairman much easier, and I'd like to thank Liam Sweeting, who's really stepped up and again had another great window where he's been totally in charge of all the dealings, and Simon Crampton behind the scenes. I mean, I'm just here looking at Wolfton, and doesn't it look great? I don't know if everybody noticed how good the pitch looked the other day. There's changes and people raising the bar in all sorts of areas at the club. What COVID has done is it's meant people have really reassessed their lives. There's a lot of people that have been leaving as well that have been with me a long time. Of course, very high profile was Andy Cullen. People reset during this time of COVID, and what we've been able to do is reset the club with a whole gang of younger, the next generation of people that want to take the club forward. And for me, as becoming the old man of the whole thing, which is a bit of a hard thing to get my head round, but I'm actually enjoying it. I've got a lot of experience, I've got a lot of mentoring that I can do, and if I've got good people, then this club can go forward, and I think that's what we've seen over this summer.
Yeah, I want to touch on when you talk about sustainability, because that was the key reason behind the restructuring and going the way we do. And we've seen that with the fact that the players that we recruited, all but one, came in before Liam Manning was appointed, and they've all seemed to fit so seamlessly into what he wants to do. Likewise, Liam Manning's come in and his team have come in and and made such an instant impact in terms of the way they want to play, but also the performances and results they've got. It kind of justifies the whole restructuring, and that must give you a lot of confidence moving forward. And it's still early days, but a lot of confidence moving forward that it was the right decision to make for this football.
Absolutely. I mean, I've personally had a hard 5 years because I lost my confidence in terms of appointing the manager. We'd had a very successful run of appointing young managers, and I kind of changed what I was trying to do. That led to much more change in the team than we would normally have had. So those are the things you learn as you go through them. You can be in it for a long time, but something different can happen, and there's a learning experience you can take. So I'm really excited that, as you say, we've got a much stronger idea. I think all of us, I support everybody, has got a much stronger idea of what is MK Dons, what does Milton Keynes stand for, and it is about new. It's about growth. It's about performance. It's about entertainment. It's about trying to be exciting, because that's what our city is about. So I'm really pleased that we're kind of back on the right road. And although we didn't expect to be looking at what our new head coach lists might look like, well, as you can see, Liam did have those. We are always looking at what happens next, and I have to look beyond that as well. And I think that discipline is going to really keep us in good stead over the next couple of years as we look to get the football back on track, get going in the right direction. And as I say, even when you can't win games, where I think I want to be is looking forward to the next game, and that's absolutely where I am at the moment.
Let's stick with looking forward then. You started the interview talking about the issues you've had behind the scenes, season tickets, club bread, entry into the stadium. Well, that last bit seems to have been resolved since the Sunderland game. What is the plan? What is the fix? Because that's what the supporters listening to this are going to want to know. What is the plan moving forward?
Well, I haven't got a magic wand with it. This is the difficulty we put ourselves in. I mean, people commented to me on the Spurs game, Pete, it's like you've never done a game before. Well, actually, 85% of people working that game had never done a game before. We've got 15 different agencies supplying just stewards, let alone the agencies supplying people in the main thing. So COVID has caused a bit of chaos in our industry. We haven't got the same people. When you come to the ground, you'll be seeing new faces all the time. So there's a lot of learning to do. So I've got no magic wand. But we are slowly getting there. As I say, the season ticket problems should be resolved within the next couple of games. Everybody should have their ability to come in and go back to normal. Club Red, as you say, has been an issue. We overpromised. We tried to say you can have your cheap ticket and be a West Ham premium, or you can pay the upgrade and have a Club Red, but you're sitting in the same place. Well, that's asking stewards to say you can come in and you can't come in. It's just not practical and not feasible. So what I've also realised is sometimes we're trying too hard and therefore failing because we can't execute things well enough. So what we're going to do, actually, we're going to look for what's going to happen next year, and I think one of the big things that I want to be involved in over the next few months, working with supporters, will be our new working group. We've had great input from supporters over the last few years on the different working groups where we come together and start to plan. But I want a specific one now that's all going to be about the pricing structure for next year. What are our offers? What are our corporate offers? What does Club Red look like? What's Club Gold and Club Platinum? What should you be paying if you're a Cowshed member? What are the age groups differences? Should it be cheaper for under 25s or under 18s or under 21s, or where are the bands? There's a lot of questions where there's lots of different models around the country that people use, and what I'm going to ask our supporters to do is to go and ask their mates that are with other clubs, what happens at your club, where does it play? We've obviously got our people, they've done all the researches, we've looked at numbers, and so we've got an idea of where we should be, but I don't want to be unilateral top down. This is about our enjoyment of the game. It's the same thing that I do. When you go, you want to know where you're sitting, you want to be sitting with people that you've had a chat with. It's a culture. And we've got to encourage that culture. So I think this is a massive opportunity, because we can't keep the cheap season tickets going for it. It's a one-off to say thank you for your support last year when you couldn't even come, and let's welcome some new people. Let's give somebody an attraction to come and build our fan base back. But actually going forward, we've got to decide what kind of club we are. Are we trying to be Crewe? Are we trying to be Charlton? Are we trying to be Ipswich? Are we trying, who are we trying to be? Where is our price lines? What is the most appropriate way of going forward together? And that's what I hope this working group can be. So people that are interested, and you've got to be really interested, because there's work to do. It's not turn up, have a chat with me and that's it. We've got work to do. We've got to go and research. We've got to have justifications. We maybe got to do individual presentations about what we think, because I want to listen, and I want to try and get it right going forward. And I will be bringing up, oh God, well, we used to do tea and coffee in Club Red. Look, guys, we just can't do it. You know, little things like that. You just have no idea what goes on behind the scenes to produce 800 teas and coffees at half time for that 15-minute gap. And I can promise you, every single week there would be 50 people that didn't get their tea and coffees that would be upset. So we're trying to do something as a benefit that actually ends up being a problem every week. And we've got to stop doing that to ourselves. We've got to realise what is important, and what's important is supporting our team, going out and watching football that we want to see. And that's what we've got to, everything's got to start coming back from that. So it's a real opportunity. Anybody that's interested, there'll be information going out in the next few weeks. Come along and let's get stuck in. As I say, here's a real chance of some engagement. This is about what we're going to pay for football going forward. So if that doesn't motivate people, I don't know what will. But I hope people can see that it is the beginnings of a new era. It is the beginnings of learning all the stuff. I think next year we're 18 years old, and that kind of 18, that kind of feels like we should be starting to grow up by now, becoming an adult. So, you know, maybe this is the time for us to refresh, re-look, re-engage, and you know, as everyone knows, the supporters are the most important part of a football club. I'm not here forever, and they are. That's the bottom line, and whoever comes in, whatever happens, it's always about our supporters. So here's a chance to actually influence and listen to the difficulties of doing certain things, what other things we might be able to do instead, what ideas have we seen at other clubs which are really good that we should be in doing, and not club ideas from their marketing point of view. What do their supporters think about what's gone down well with them? That's why I need that feedback, not top down, but actually user up, and let's see what we can go and find out.
I want to finish on the supporters because, you know, on a positive note, I know it's not been exactly smooth running, but how great is it to see them back in football stadiums? There was this time last year when we were just starting last year, we just didn't know whether we'd see it again.
When you, in hindsight already, it's the weirdest thing I think any of us will ever go through in our entire working lives, and hope that it doesn't ever happen again, because it's not the same at all, from any point of view, and it's just brilliant to see everybody back. It's great that, as I say, we've got this young, exciting, dynamic squad. I mean, Peter's just joined us, you know, one of our old boys, missed in all the Portisdale times, but he's really gone off and shown what he can go and do, and it's a pleasure to have him back to the club and see if he can go and help us have a good year, because that's what I think we'd all like to see. Some results come from all this, and I know that Liam and his team are very focused on that, and as I say, they've started really well, but there are going to be moments during the season when they're going to absolutely need our backing, need our support. We've already got a few more injuries than we'd like to have, and those things are going to continue through the season. So again, support are there because they're needed, because it's about them, because it's about what we've all got to go and do to get behind our team. But I really do believe we're starting to give people a team that they can believe in again, players that they can get excited about again, and as I say, the enjoyment of wanting to go and see the team.